chemist spirits are the cure for the common cocktail.
We really looked at a wine that would go well for people who are pursuing an active and healthy lifestyle.
Gin and tonic in an 8-ounce can.
Dedication to our craft for over 165 years. It's no wonder that we brought this amazing liquid to the United States.
The idea of aging it in Cabernet cask is very unique.
De Nord is a place where people feel safe, where they feel welcome, where they feel wanted.
And decided to create an organic vodka through a premium lens.
The recipe that is genuinely history in a bottle.
We started making spirits to share our appreciation for quality whiskey and the Central Coast.
Salute. Cheers.
This wine pairs with everything.
We've always loved to bring people together over great drinks because we know that cocktails are the ultimate social connector.
Pink Pig is a premium añejo cristalino that is shattering expectations.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 2021 WSWA Brand Battle Tournament. This is the alcohol industry's premier pitch competition. My name is Chris Underwood, and I am the current WSWA Board of Directors Chairman. For those of you joining us today and all summer long on Tournament Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will see and hear from some of the hottest wine and spirit brands battling it out by category to make it to and compete to the first ever virtual Brand Battle Championship, with the overall winner being named the 2021 Brand Battle Champion by our panel of expert judges. Before I turn things over to our 2021 Brand Battle host, Bill Rancic, I want to recognize our hospitality partners in attendance who are taking a break to celebrate our industry's best while working hard to reopen America. Our nation's family-owned wine and spirits wholesalers are committed to delivering the brands your customers demand. For all the craft brands in attendance here, thank you for celebrating and supporting the work of your friends and colleagues competing in Brand Battle. We know the pandemic has been difficult, and we welcome the reopening of tasting rooms nationwide. WSWA has made free resources available to craft brands seeking distribution partnership through the WSWA Access Program. Those resources can be found at wswa.org/access. Brand Battle will showcase the most creative, innovative, and entrepreneurial personalities and products in our industry. To those of you who have applied, who have been accepted, and are on the verge of a career-changing competition, we wish you all the best. On behalf of WSWA, its members nationwide, we hope your brands find a place in the most dynamic, competitive, and successful alcohol marketplace in the world. Thank you for participating, and good luck to all of you. Now I'd like to introduce Bill Rancic, our host for all the Brand Battle tournaments. Bill has been involved with Brand Battle competition for the past 4 years, which was held live at the WSWA Convention. He is an industry influencer, entrepreneur, and restaurateur. Bill, over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Chris. And this is my first year hosting, and I had the privilege to be a judge for the 4 previous years. So it's really an honor and a privilege to be your host today, and for a few other competitions throughout the summer's events, as well as your host for the Brand Battle Tournament Championship on September 14th. But I know everyone's waiting to get going here, but before we get started and we learn about today's competitors, I want to take a moment to thank our tournament sponsors. So first up, we have 750 Beverage Media Group. It's the tournament media partner who has certainly helped promote the tournament, as well as is going to help engage with the contenders and the winners following the tournament. They have been a longtime supporter of WSWA and its various programs that we've had, and we are very thankful for their continued support. So thank you to 750 Beverage Media Group. London Essence. This is really a fun one because they were a former Brand Battle contender. and they are also now a sponsor for today's tournament. So it sounds like they're doing quite well. And our other sponsors include Beverage Brand Ambassador Academy, Gap Promotions, Low and No Beverage Summit, and the Wine Industry Network. So today we will be hearing from 6 different vodka and gin companies who will spend a few minutes each presenting information about their products. And after each presentation, the judges will have a few minutes to ask questions and provide feedback. And I want to encourage all of you watching to add your own questions and thoughts in the chat box right at the bottom of the screen. We're going to try to answer all the questions that come through during the tournament. And at the end of today's competition, we will announce our category winner from our judges' votes and also the People's Choice winner for this category. And this is the winner who is selected by all of you, our virtual audience, who we have tuning in to today's competition. So thank you for tuning in. But the Judges' Choice winner will move on to the championship round in September. You guys ready to get this going? Yeah, I am too. So first, I want to start off our competition by introducing our esteemed panel of judges that will have us all of the tough job today of judging. Together, this group of wholesalers represent businesses varying in size across the country and bringing over 100 years of combined experience and expertise in the wine and spirits industry. These industry leaders are always looking for the next up and coming brand. So let me introduce our judges. First up from RNDC, we have Jeff Hagley, the Key Account Manager for Georgia. Jeff is a seasoned hospitality industry expert who leads a group of specialists in building partnerships and improving efficiencies in both on and off premise. In addition to supporting these unique roles, Jeff is an educator for the WSET, as well as a member of various committees, including new item development, special events, and social media. Next, from Breakthrough Beverage Group, we have Jennifer Perret, the digital market manager from Colorado. Welcome, Jen. She is another industry veteran. She's been involved for over 20 years and held a variety of roles in sales and trade development. In her current role, she drives the expansion and growth of the Trident division, a collective of curated craft and emerging suppliers that are unique. They have compelling stories, they fit a niche, and they're high performing for the distributor in each market. Now, our third judge is from Allied Beverage Group, Tom Fendel, Vice President of Supplier Relations and Innovation. Tom serves as the key contact for Allied's most important supplier relationships, as well as he's responsible for new brand ventures and innovation. Our next judge is the Chief Operating Officer from Best Brands, Inc., Ryan Moses. In this role, Ryan actively seeks and finds new supplier partners, along with managing the day-to-day operations of the company and strategic direction. As a fourth-generation business owner, Ryan understands the importance of continuing a family legacy and continual evolution as the marketplace and consumer choices are constantly changing over time. Next up, Lacey Sadoff, another fourth-generation owner and president of Badger Liquor, the largest wine and spirits distributor in Wisconsin. Her drive for continuous improvement at every level has helped inspire growth and accountability throughout the company. Lacey is in her final year of Harvard Business School's Owner President Management Executive Program. Congratulations. That's a very tough program. And it is helping her grow Badger Liquors even bigger and better than anyone would have thought. And last but not least, from Major Brands is Doug Nixon, the Sales Director of Spirits and Non-Alcoholics. During his career, he has spent time dedicated to the development of portfolios in the on-premise sector and is now dedicated to the brand sides as Sales Director, responsible for all aspects of Major Brands business in the on and off premise, as well as liaison for their key suppliers. Doug's true passion throughout his career is looking forward and dedicating time and effort in the exploration of innovation, opening minds to seeing what he sees in the future of innovation brands. It drives him to the diamond, to be the next diamond in the rough. So thank you all for participating as judges for today's competition. And I certainly know that you guys have a tough job as a judge for the previous 4 years of this. It is not an easy role. So good luck today and have fun. So let's get to the part that you've all registered to see here today, our contenders. So this category, believe it or not, received one of the largest numbers of entries and had a very competitive group of companies. So we are excited to hear from 6 unique companies who were selected to talk about their products, representing a very wide variety of new brands. The brands we'll hear from today are Due North Social Spirits, Romeo's Gin, Highclere Castle Gin, the Highway Distillery, Blackleaf Organic Vodka, and Waterloo Gin. So now that we know the players, let's get started. Please welcome our first contender to this tournament, Chris Montana of Due North Social Spirits. Chris, you have the floor. Knock 'em dead.
All right, well, thank you. Hello, everyone. It's an honor to be here, kicking off the brand battle with so many other cool brands. I know my time is short, and so I'm going to get right into it. My wife and I started Due North Craft Spirits in 2013, and we wanted to create a business that reflected our backgrounds. My wife grew up on a small farm in central Minnesota, and I grew up in Minneapolis, where our distillery is today. And in those early days, our corn came from my wife's family farm, about 4,000 pounds at a time that I would mill, mash, distill, and bottle by hand in our little distillery. And little is the right word. We didn't have any luck raising money, so it was just us. I worked as an attorney downtown during the day, and I distilled at night. And while that's a hard way to start a business, it also forced me to learn every part of the process because there were no consultants to call when something went wrong. It's also why Due North is still 100% husband and wife owned today. From the beginning, the focus was on making quality spirits. All of our products are award winners, and we take care to maintain quality. Our vodka is simple. Make narrow cuts to alleviate the need for heavy filtration or additives. It's made from corn and it tastes like it because in my mind, all spirits should have a signature and ours is corn. Our gin follows the same approach. It's a big, bold, Lucy gin. When I was researching gins, I tried many brands in a gin and tonic, and in all cases, the tonic was driving the bus. I could hardly taste the specifics of the gin. So I wanted to make a gin that was unmistakable, and the signature was juniper. Our maceration process takes a week to complete, but the gin it produces is more than terpene juniper, but also the sweetness and earthiness of juniper. But you have our spirits, so you can taste them for yourselves, and I think you'll taste our process and the care we put into it. So I want to take whatever time I have left and talk about what I think makes our distillery special, and that is our purpose. The past year and a half have been difficult for us, but it's sharpened our focus on purpose. Due North is located on the same block as the Minneapolis 3rd Precinct, the workplace of 4 officers who killed George Floyd last year. The protests centered around our area, and by Thursday of that week, the situation was out of control. By 2 a.m., I was notified that the fire suppression system was going off in the distillery. There was a curfew, so I had to wait for 4 hours, but at 6 a.m., the fires were still burning. There was no one to put it out. There were no fire trucks left. The whole area was on fire. Though the space was now no good as a distillery, we were able to convert our space to a food bank to serve the community. We used the press attention to start a foundation, and today, sales of Due North support our foundation that continues to provide free food to the community and is also building business incubator sites to help other would-be BIPOC entrepreneurs realize their dreams of business ownership. So Due North is rebuilding. We're building a new, larger distillery in Minneapolis and building over 30,000 square feet of business incubation space within the Twin Cities. We're partnered with a major airline, and our vodka and gin will, later this year, be on every domestic and international flight. We're growing quickly, and that growth will help fuel our foundation. Before anything else, I'm committed to producing quality spirits, but I'm also committed to using this company to open the door for others who deserve an easier road than I had. We're emerging from a rebranding process with Jack Daniel's and Uncle Nearest that has seen our brand move to Due North Social Spirits, because we're committed to the social aspect of consuming good spirits and the social good that our profits support. Our partnership with Jack Daniel's has allowed us to use some of their capacity to meet our demand while our new facilities are being finished. We are a brand that is growing quickly, and we have every intention to build a national brand that tastes good and does good. And I want to make sure I take time to thank each member of the panel for their time and their willingness to hear not just from me, but all of the other cool brands here today. It's an honor to be counted among them, and I'll happily answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much, Chris. That was really, what a great story. I love a good family business story. But now it's time to bring back our panel of judges to put you on the hot seat, and we are going to start with Jeff from RNDC. So Jeff, what are your thoughts, questions? Take it away.
Well, Chris, you actually answered the question I was going to ask, is what do you view as kind of the legacy of Du Nord? So I was kind of inspired by looking at the packaging with, you described the vodka as highly opinionated, but exquisitely balanced, and deeply juniper with a botanical soul for the gin. So that kind of spoke to me about what your intentions are, what you view as the legacy, but you just summed that up perfectly. So let's talk about some gin then, about some other things. Obviously juniper is the driver. I noticed a little bit of orris and orange peel almost on its flavor profile. What was there a regionality that you were trying to capture in that? Were you looking for a classic British style or something that would be well received in Spain? Or is this purely American and this is where it's supposed to be?
It's a good question. Thanks for it.
And real quick, before you answer the question, can you hold the bottle up so people know what the bottle looks like? Would that be okay?
I don't know. You got these backgrounds, so it's a little.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry.
That's the vodka. I'll get you the gin.
Okay. Okay.
From Minnesota, so we do a lot of purple. Yeah, so it's a good question. And truthfully, I think if you were to look at our botanical bill, it looks more like an old world gin. That ratio of juniper to coriander is closer to 10:1, as opposed to what, a lot of new worlds or even a London dry would flip those ratios. But the distillation process is more like a London dry. We don't run the still down too low. We're taking it off at about 160 proof. And so we're taking a little bit of both worlds there. We get away with it, I think, because we have this kind of low and slow process. And, the hope here was to create something that really drove out the flavor of that juniper and let it drive the bus. And everything else is kind of around the edges. We have a lot of angelica root that's in there. We do have the orange peel in there, but it's not really meant to be the star of the show.
Lacey, I want to turn it over to you. What are your thoughts, Lacey?
Thanks, Bill. Nice presentation, Chris. Since I don't have a background up, I'll show the bottle for those of you who couldn't see it. Nice package. I like the purple. I'm not in Minnesota. I'm a Packers fan, but purple is. I'll give you that one. Since we talked a little bit about flavor already, I'm going to circle back to the foundation you talked about and the social impact aspect of the brand. Personally, I really, really appreciate all the work that you've been doing most recently. My question is around, is the focus you're taking now in a social aspect, is that going to be the same focus you continue forward with, or are you going to change that as the times change and people's attention may be diverted to other topics?
It's a good question, and it should be an easy one to answer. I've got a focus now, and I plan on sticking to it. I think that there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and that can make things seem daunting. I had a pretty hard road in opening up this distillery. Nobody would give me any money, and it was tough. As far as production distilleries, it's the first Black-owned one in the country, and we don't think it should be that hard. And so my focus is on economic development. I think that everyone should have a shot at owning a business. I think that's how you build wealth. I think that's what is needed within the BIPOC community. And right now, it's just so difficult to get that starting capital. And so I've chosen to focus really in two areas. One, food security is an issue in our area. It was after the fires because all of our grocery stores were burned down, but we also are seeing that people on that first rung of society are having a hard time just meeting those basic needs. And that includes kids. I'm a father of 3, and the idea of that bothers me. And so we're working on that. We'll continue to do that. On the other side, I want to create, and we are creating, it's not really a joke at this point. I mean, we have purchase agreements that are negotiated. We're building this stuff come hell or high water. We're going to build incubators that allow people to come in, and instead of spending their capital up front on the loan or something else, they're going to spend their money on building their business, and we won't charge them to be in the space, and we will support them in their journey. So that's my focus now. I expect it's going to be my focus for the next 30 years.
Well, I appreciate you kicking us off the first spot. I know it's always challenging, so thank you so much. And it is now time for our second competitor, Stefan Rushfar. He is the co-founder of Romeo's Gin and the EVP of, and I'm going to get this wrong, I apologize. My French is not so good. Can you help me out? Creative Wine and Spirits. My wife over here is trying to help me. Devonus, Creative Spirits?
Yeah, it's Vernois. You're close.
Devonnois.
That's right, Bill.
Oui. Merci beaucoup.
All right.
Take it away.
Cool. All right. Hello, everyone. And thanks to the WSWA for this fantastic opportunity. And to the judges, it's a real honor to present to you guys today. I co-founded Romeo's Gin 5 years ago in Montreal, Canada. Our idea, our vision was original and unique, crossing gin with street art. And give it the name Romeo, because there's no more powerful name to say love and passion. And when you look back at our last 5 years, everything that we have done has been strongly propelled by a passion for art, but also a drive to make things different. Just last week, Shanken News Daily's headline read, Gin $25 and up tier showing rapid growth. The category is hot. It might be new to some, but it's not new to us. In fact, we have built a 30,000 9-liter cases international business, and now we are ready to bring it to the US. But let's get back to the vision. Imagine you're at the Louvre Museum in Paris, surrounded by old masters art and classical music. That is the gin category, crowded with players playing around the same elements: origin, sourcing botanicals, distilling techniques, craftsmanship, prohibition, alchemy. We might be a gin, but we don't belong in the Louvre, and that's fine with us. We target a newer, younger audience, and that's exactly what does street and urban art in the art scene. The concept from the start was fairly well set, but to be totally transparent, the taste was not at all. Until one day we had lunch in a restaurant and we were served a cold soup. Cucumber, dill, lavender, lemon, with shades of almond on top. That soup was vibrant, crisp, fresh. It was colorful in taste. It hit us. That's what urban art had to taste like. And that was the gin we needed to create. Romeo's Gin launched in 2016 with edition 01, showcasing a remixed version with color, tattoo, and disruption of the most classical icon you can get, Mozart. It's now our permanent edition. And since then, we have released 7 more limited editions, always with the same gin inside, same label in front, but different artworks by different artists. Last year, we launched our first flavored gin. We partnered with artist Miss Me, who is a feminist activist with a powerful message. Romeo's Gin X is not what you would expect from a watermelon pink gin, but it's in that duality, that depth, that lies the real strength of the product. In the last 5 years, we collaborated with more than 40 artists, sponsored art festivals and gallery openings, commissioned murals. We even built our own 24-story eye museum, all that in various markets on and off premise. All strategic elements that we will replicate in other markets. Those 2 gins combined for 30,000 9-liter cases in the last 12 months. Add to that our 3 RTDs portfolio, and you hit the 100,000 cases. As we look at our US introduction, we will want to integrate in our strategy elements that led us to success in other markets, such as have the right people in the right markets, target millennials, create trend-setting, hyperactive digital content, bring new consumers into the category, deliver value and margin to all 3 tiers, and build bridges between artists and the on-trade. We recognize that distribution in the US is not free. We are prepared to make investments in the market for joint success. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate your presentation. Another great job. And now it's time for our panel of judges again. So Ryan, why don't you start the questions off, please?
Yes, I mean, I love kind of the combination of taking art and really kind of pushing the boundaries there and using that to kind of create the brand around that versus kind of going the other way. It's definitely a different way approach. How do you, I know you say you want to invest and do what you've done in Canada and the US. How do you emulate that plan in various cities? How do you take the street art and actually bring that to the forefront of the brand in the cities that you're going to be launching in the US?
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at markets, you know, whenever you're a brand like us, You might select markets based on different aspects. To us, like high presence of museums, high density of millennials, knowing that millennials have 4 out of 5 millennials mentioned that they have a strong interest towards art. But art festivals, high density of coffee shops, those are elements that we target. But the art festival element and figure out those events we can sponsor for our brands to be affiliated with those, that's a really low-hanging fruit to me. And further than that, I mentioned also the element about the on-trade, but in each city where we will launch, there are murals, there are artists. We want to create bridges, like I mentioned. So recreating cocktails, or at least creating cocktails that are in a liquid interpretation of those murals already present in the city. And also I mentioned about the different labels, different artists. We want to partner with US artists. That's the core of our strategy.
Great. Jen, what are your thoughts on Romeo's Gin?
Thank you. Well, Ryan stole my question, so I am over here furiously thinking of others. So, Stefan, you mentioned that it takes capital for the for entry into the U.S. and there's a lot of great markets here that you know are prime for your brand. So, tell us about what your strategy is. Who do you want to attack first? What markets do you want to enter first, and what will be your approach to that?
So I have my personal vision with that, but as of now, we are in discussion with different importers. As soon as we have secured an import deal, the importer's knowledge of the markets will be key to us. So this will be really a big part of the decision on which market we will select. It does take capital. I think we're in a good position with the success that we're having in other countries. So we can really bring more investment to start and not be looking for the business to be where we want it to be in like 5 to 10 years. But if I would give you a concrete example, just like I mentioned earlier, the choice will be selected based on you know, artistic importance in different markets, rather than just looking the gin category.
I think we've got time for one more. I hope that answers your question, Jen. We have time for one more question. Doug, do you have any questions?
Yeah, and just cheers to you on getting away from the strawberry vanilla and chocolate ice cream aspect. You know, when we look at innovation across the board, you know, a lot of us in this industry, we get tons and tons of samples, but the one thing that we always look for is what is it different, you know, and I always say that diamond in the rough. What I love to see also in innovation is we're always trying to figure out the millennial is what is that next step for them? What is that bridge to get them from one aspect to the next? It's what Riesling did for Chardonnay, to get people out of white Zin to Riesling into Chardonnay and vice versa. And what you've done with these two products is with that cucumber forward, that's what people are looking for, the refreshing aspect of this. And then also with the watermelon. Just over the weekend, my daughter graduated from high school, and I actually put the watermelon gin on top of some margaritas. And to let you know, it was fantastic. So we are always, as an industry, looking for those unique products like that to roll through the process to give us that different aspect on life. My question is the maturation process of your botanicals. What is the time duration?
And we've got to make this answer quick, Stefan. I'm sorry, we have 30 seconds left. So sorry about that.
All right. So there is infusion with the lavender and the lemon. All other elements are water distilled, and it would be classified as a compound gin because it's blended after the distilling process. So that's how the gin is produced.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you, Stefan. Next up, we're going to hear from, we appreciate you taking the time, and your display looks really amazing. I love the art in the background. But next up, we're going to hear from Adam Van Guten with Highclere Castle Spirits. Adam, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Bill. And I do like your chandelier. I think you've got my little deer head. But mine's head is attached. So, first of all, thank you all for your attention. And it's an honor to have been selected to present to all of you today. Again, my name is Adam Van Guten. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Highclere Castle Gin. My family goes back in distillation here in New England to the 1800s. And about 12 years ago, I rediscovered kind of my family's passion for spirits production. And I built the first micro distillery to be built in Connecticut in about 80 years. That brought me from the fields to the distillery into distribution, and I kind of learned from the ground up. And about 5 years ago, I recognized that so many of these brands we encounter in the market are kind of designed in corporate marketing boardrooms, and they try to throw a celebrity at it and see if it sticks, and then it goes out. And I just felt like there's so much artificialness in the industry, but really across the board in many industries right now that we have to kind of deal with. I sought out on this quest to kind of develop the perfect brand, a brand that was deeply genuine, had built-in prestige and history, had a craft element and a kind of desire to create a recipe using the terroir of the land that was essentially uncopyable, impossible to fake. I, like many millions of other fans from around the world, was introduced to Highclere Castle through the TV series Downton Abbey. And being a bit of an Anglophile and having British heritage, and my wife having went to university in England, I reached out, and I was fortunate enough to get to know the Earl and Countess of Carnarvon, who own Highclere. And we became fast friends and eventually decided to form a business partnership in the creation of Highclere Castle Gin. Lord Carnarvon is godson to Her Majesty the Queen, and his family's been on the estate since the 1600s. And what I love about Highclere is it merges these two kind of very distinct worlds that makes an English country estate an English country estate. On the one hand, it's rainy, muddy English farming, 5,000 acres of it. And on the other hand, it's this beautiful, distinct English country castle where these traditions of hospitality and service and quality food and drink are kind of still protected today. So, you know, in terms of the recipe development, that was rather easy because we had to walk out of the back door of the castle and voila, the Victorian era orangery. We are a very citrus forward gin, therefore. We use these beautiful little oranges the size of golf balls, and lemon as well, and lime flower. So we decided early on to be a citrus forward gin, back down the juniper a bit, which I felt has been very successful in introducing the millennial market to the gin. We know that this transition is already happening because they're finding gin a bit more sophisticated in cocktails than vodka, and they're kind of maturing in their flavor profile. And so we went citrus forward. Behind that is the walled monk's garden, where we harvest lavender that was planted by the Bishop of Winchester in the 9th century. And then, of course, we use something that no gin has ever done before. We used Highclere's famous oats, which are grown to feed thoroughbred racehorses, the finest in the world. And these oats, being a brown spirit lover as well, these oats create this creamy, velvety, soft finish. And I believe those oats are responsible for how we've won 29 international gold and platinum awards in just the last 16 months. We launched a few months before COVID hit. We are available, though, in UK, France, Switzerland, Malta, Denmark, and 25 US markets. A pretty aggressive launch platform, but we were fortunate enough to be able to do a capital raise to support the brand. We all know what it costs to build a brand in the US and UK. Mm-hmm. It's quite pricey, and so at this point, we're looking for new partners around the world. We're staying true to the quality of the product and having fun along the way.
Well, what a history lesson. Oh my goodness. It's an amazing story. But before I turn it over to the panel of judges, can I see the bottle? Do you have one handy? Just so everyone at home. Great. Beautiful. And Doug, why don't we start with you this time? Is that okay, Doug?
Perfect. No, cheers to you for being picked for the panel, and cheers to you. Fantastic upfront finish. The citrus note. The one thing you guys, I was doing some research. Gin on the rocks is not something that you hear a lot across the country or across any of our platforms, and I applaud that. It's something that we need to really start to look at, and I think that this type of gin will adhere to that. One of my questions is, and especially with the lineage and what's behind the brand, is are all of the botanicals, are they sourced from the gardens from on property?
Yeah, as many as we can. Unfortunately, the juniper, no. The juniper's been growing at Highclere since the Romans occupied the area. And now the little juniper bushes are protected by the local government. And they got very mad when they discovered we were going to go try to yank some of them out of the side of the hill. So we have to unfortunately source our juniper from elsewhere. So as much as we can, we get from Highclere.
Wonderful. Well, yeah, that probably wouldn't go over too well, I would say. Lacey, what are your thoughts?
I love it. Really great story. Always down for a little history lesson too. I like the tie-in with Downton Abbey and everything. My question for you is from a marketing and branding perspective. Thinking about when you'll potentially be going into distributors around the country and presenting to sales representatives. How much of your story do you plan to be actually related to the taste and flavor and mixability of your product? And how much is about this really intriguing story? How long-term, where do you see your branding developing or going?
Great question, Lacey. I mean, at the end of the day, all that matters is the flavor and the packaging. And that's where we've spent, 4 years in development. I think the story tells itself. I think it's a very kind of unique, very beautiful and very real story, especially with our ability to host people at the castle. But at the end of the day, that the fact that we've won 29 awards so quickly, and we're seeing, most importantly, pull through in the markets with 25,000 cases projected for this year, I think that it comes down to flavor, it comes down to packaging, and then that next level for the customer experience, they get through our social media. I think we're over 150,000 followers now through the digital media that we do, and of course, working the market in person, which is also important to us.
Great, thank you.
Jeff, I'm going to give you the final question, so take it away, Jeff.
Thanks, Bill. My question is going to step into a production area. Gin production is very dependent upon the equipment, and I know that Highclere is the oldest gin distillery in England, but I'd love to learn a little bit more about the stills and how that kind of connects the botanicals to the final spirit.
Yeah, actually, Jeff, there's not a distillery on the estate. We send ours to Langley Distillery, which is the oldest gin distillery in England. There, we found what I believe to be the best craft distillery that also has scalability. We spent about 1.5 years on the recipe with them, and we are distilled in a copper pot still called Jenny, which is the oldest copper pot still in all of England as well. This is a really charming distillery in that it's covered in soot. It was built in the Victorian era. There is no tasting room whatsoever. It is not a front-facing distillery experience. But for spirit geeks like all of us, it is the real deal in the north of England. So we take our botanicals and we ship them up north to Langley for our recipe. Typically, we're there for the duration of the run. And then, of course, it's blended down to proof. They're actually located above an ancient underground water source, which we draw to proof and then bottle and then ship it to our markets around the world.
Wonderful. Well, what a great presentation. And we are officially halfway through our brands that are presenting today. So it is halftime, but it's not going to be a long halftime. And I hope everyone at home is enjoying hearing all the feedback from our great judges. But we have our next contestant, Ben Williams. He is the owner and co-founder of the Highway Distillery. Ben, it is all yours.
All right, so thanks so much for having us. Great to be a part of this process. So Ben Williams, Highway Distillery, located in Houston, Texas. A little bit about us. We started distilling about 8 years ago as a hobby, me and my childhood friend, Wendell Robbins. Literally just reading every book we could find, watching every YouTube video, just trying to teach ourselves how to do it. We actually started in Wendell's horse barn, which actually turned into our actual distillery where we're sitting right now. I owned a couple of bars and restaurants around the city, and we would let regulars kind of sample like what we were making. And after a few years of distilling, kind of took a trip to California and met some people that were doing some distilling with cannabis and alcohol. And so knew enough about distilling at that point to target in on some of the parts of the process that I kind of liked what they were doing, So I came home, and obviously I couldn't play with that plant here. So we started messing around with hemp. And so with this new mash bill, made some of the best stuff that we'd ever made to that point. I started having blind taste tests with some of the more popular Texas vodkas and winning them all. And so that's what kind of gave us our confidence to go ahead and, give this a go. And it took us 2.5 years to get our permits, and because of the hemp primarily, and we've been on shelves now for about 2 years. So people always ask why hemp, and it's not about the flavor of hemp or the CBD, it's about what the plant does for the process. So we start with hemp corn and water, cook it up in the mash tun, throw it all in the fermenter. And during the fermentation, that's when the hemp starts to come alive. And so it's full of nutrients that feed the yeast and make our yields of alcohol get larger. Plus, there are a lot of oils that form from the hemp seed. And so we distill on the grain. We throw everything in the still, the oil, the liquid, and the grain. We distill it 6 times and capture only the hearts of the runs. We don't like to deal in blending the tails, because that's the purest part of the run. This method has allowed us to kind of keep exactly what we want to in the spirit as we polish it. And it also change the viscosity of the liquid a little bit so that those oils knock off that burn and hold some of the sweetness from the corn on your palate. It's only 57 calories per serving, full of anti-inflammatories. You know, we have to make it from scratch. You can't source what we do because our process is just so unique. So it's been a great time this past 2 years, you know, just trying to figure it out, like starting off with a handful of off-premise stores and friendly accounts, bar owners that I knew, to growing to having full end caps and Total Wine stores, just featuring nothing but Highway and like over 200 on-premise accounts around town alone. And that kind of helped us decide, okay, it's time to step outside because we have no investors or whatever. So we got to sell a bottle to grow. And so we grew throughout Texas, and now we're just landed into Georgia and Southern California and Southern Florida. So, and we actually have people in those markets, in the key cities in those markets, boots on the ground, helping us move product and stuff like that. We also have our new distiller, my partner's daughter, Cody Robbins Fuller, is she's actually the youngest African-American female distiller in the country. So it's really cool that she was around the whole time learning the process, and now she kind of does it every day for us. So since we've added 10,000 square feet to our facility, because we're scaling up, we purchased about 7.5 acres next door to our facility. It's going to be our event center and tasting room, only 12 minutes outside of Houston. And this is where we're from. So we call ourselves the true spirit of Houston. During the pandemic, we partnered with some on-premise accounts to do host bar pop-ups that helped out, put over $40,000 in the hands of bartenders and stuff. We, over Winter Storm Uri, we donated 10,000 liters of water to the community. So we do everything we can for the community, and that's really our thing. But we just love being here and love the job. It's a lot worse gigs out there. So
yeah. That's great. What a great story. And I love your setup there. It looks really good on camera. So congrats on your success.
I appreciate it.
I'm going to turn it over to Jen. Jen, can you kick us off for this round? Is that okay?
I can, thanks. The first thing I heard was anti-inflammatory, so healthy, love it.
Yep.
The first thing I want to say, it's super approachable. I think this spirit really sets itself apart as a great entry point in this space. Cannabis spirits are really, still not very widely known and are coming on board. And there's a few out there that are, have really gained some traction. So tell us a little bit how you're going to set yourself apart from other cannabis spirits and basically the vodka section when you're shopping in store.
Well, basically what's been such a great thing for us is our packaging, number one. Number two, I'm really intentional about sampling. So we sample constantly. Like we're in stores every week, like at least 5 stores a week sampling, making sure people are aware of the product and stuff like that, and just really, trying to help it get moving. And as we have success in those accounts, like for Total Wine, for instance, and then you start putting our branding up, then all of a sudden, it really starts moving itself because of the uniqueness of everything. And that leaf says a lot, you know what I mean? Like to people, they're just they're very curious about it. And yeah, so that's basically it, because I think that we've done a great job thus far with, just 2 guys just trying to do something, finding a niche in this space and on that shelf. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, Ryan, do you have any questions?
Yeah, definitely. I love the product. I think the taste profile is great. I think the viscosity you mentioned is just definitely shines through. How do you bring this product? Because I think you have people who bucketize things with hemp or marijuana as kind of this glitchy kind of thing versus actually being a true drinkable product, approachable, and just happens to use that to make it taste unique and be successful. How do you kind of balance that of, yes, it is hemp, but also I want you to drink this with your martini?
Yeah, and again, it's just a lot of education. And in the general space of that plant, there's just a lot of education. But what we found in general, more so even, is that the leaf, it finds who it wants to find. Like if you're in tune with that, it grabs you. But like if that's not your thing or whatever, and then you just have Highways on one of your menus at one of your places that you like to go, you'll notice. And I get that all the time when people are just like, oh, this is like, what is this again? And then it's Highway, and then, they want to know the process. So, I mean, like, I really believe that as we, continue to grow and stuff like that, people will just, you know, they when they taste the liquid, that's the biggest thing that most people are just amazed at the nuance of it, the ease of drinking it. One lady actually told me one time that it drinks like a wine, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to use that. That's pretty cool. So, you know, so yeah, I mean, I think that as people get, you know, if you're attuned to that leaf, it's gonna grab you. If you're not, maybe gravitate towards the Texas base of it all. And but once you get it in your mouth, it's a go.
Tom, do you want to wrap it up for this this round of questions?
Yeah, sure. Well, Ben, really impressive. Question I have, basically all my questions were answered, you know, from Ryan and Jen.
We've got 30 seconds left,
yeah,
guys, just so you know, for this round. So I apologize.
Ben, from a marketing standpoint, I noticed that you're selling online. Can you share with the group how many markets across the country you've shipped to, and how you're going to plan to keep marketing the brand as you expand?
Yeah, so again, like so we're really like on some organic grassroots level stuff right now, and we ship to, so via Reserve Bar, it goes to, I believe, 35 states right now. But as far as like actual brick and mortar stuff, is 4 states. And like what I do is I kind of reined up the growth, because I want to have boots on the ground where we are and stuff like that. And so we're actually I get calls about investment every day, so we're kind of working that out. And I'm just happy to be able to do this with really like hardly no money, and to get to this point, you know, is really great. And so like, if I just, you know, when we go ahead and put this second phase of operating into play, it's gonna go.
All right, I gotta wrap you up, but congratulations. And now we are on to our 5th contender, Kevin Lakai from Blackleaf Organic Vodka. Kevin, please tell us a little bit more about your vodka.
Perfect. Thank you guys for having me. I'll jump right in. So I'm Kevin Lakai, owner of Blackleaf Organic Vodka, based in Washington, D.C. So I'll tell you a little bit about the backstory, how the brand came to be, our unique selling points, and why I think we're positioned for success. So for me, it originally stemmed from a passion for consumer products. So I would see, you know, brands come out of nowhere and be dominant. And very early on, you know, I was intrigued by that, and I had this belief that why couldn't that be me? So I wanted to do something, but I didn't quite know what to do. So while on vacation in Cognac, France, I ended up meeting what seemed to be the only Black person in Cognac. So it turns out he was a soccer player in the UK, married to a woman from Cognac. So the town had been following his career, and he was somewhat of a local celebrity. So he introduced us to a bunch of different people, including Bertrand Leclerc, who is the owner of Maison René Leclerc, a 5th-generation Cognac house. So we were hanging out, you know, tasting amazing spirits. What was apparent to me was this guy is a master craftsman. And in our conversations, he was open to collaborating and creating something. So I saw that as the opportunity. And now the question became, you know, what to do. And what I believed back then, and believe even stronger now, is sustainability, eco-consciousness, organic products. Those are the future. Quite frankly, I think every brand should be inching in that direction. And when I looked at the landscape, I noticed, you know, style and aesthetics was heavily downplayed. It wasn't a key focus. So we wanted to create an organic product through a premium lens. So essentially taking organic and making it sexy. So now what is Blackleaf? So Blackleaf is the first French organic vodka on the market. We are distilled 5 times using a copper pot still, which gives the vodka a lot of character. So you taste notes of pear, you know, peppercorns, with slight sweetness, and then it ends in a silky smooth finish. So now we have amazing liquid. So why not pour that into beautiful packaging? So I'll show you the bottle here. So it's a sleek bottle. It has the black, it fades to clear. We use organic inks, and specifically went with a bottle with less glass because it's more eco-conscious. So what I've described is essentially, you know, amazing liquid, beautiful packaging. It's a super premium profile. And we offer that at premium pricing. And what I mean by that is You know, I'll give you an example. A lot of times when we do tasting, you know, I'll tell the story, I'll have people try it, and then I'll simply ask, you know, what do you think this price is? And without fail, I would hear 35, I would hear 40. And when I tell them it's $24.99, or sometimes even less, you know, the sale happens right there. So I think, you know, we're very confident in the product that we've had. We've had a ton of tastings, got great feedback, repeat buyers, people that really love the brand. And, you know, organic is also trending up. 23% of consumers are seeking organic products. So, you know, we feel like we have a great product. And I glossed over the details, but it's been a learning experience up to this point. So we're also very, very clear on what we need to do to succeed. So, you know, thank you guys for listening and hearing the story. And
thanks, Kevin. You know, I have one of our, I own the RPM restaurant, or co-own the RPM restaurant group. We have one in Washington, D.C. So I certainly hope you've tried to call on them, and hopefully we see it on the menu at RPM Italian in D.C.
I'll definitely head over there.
And with that said, Lacey, what are your thoughts?
Sure. Nice job. I love the bottle. I appreciate the less glass. My question for you is kind of market based. When you think of your brand in a perfect world, you know, rolling out across the country, where do you see people consuming this brand most? Are they buying it at a grocery store? Is it at a restaurant? Is it at a nightclub? What's the brand identity?
Yeah, so it's definitely, I would say, at home. The occasion would be at home, and then also, you know, folks that are going out. So I think we target probably more off premise because of that at home occasion, and then we also have a focus on premise as well. So I would say at home and also in restaurant settings.
Great, thank you.
Jeff, any questions?
Yeah, hi, Kevin. Great presentation. Love the packaging. You touched on the production method, and I wanted to kind of ask a little bit more specifics about that. Are you attaining neutral proof using only copper pot still?
So we get the wheat from Normandy, and everything is done at the facility. So they're doing the mash and they're distilling. So it's not coming from neutral grain spirit. It's, you know, from grain.
Right, but it has to be distilled, I believe, to 96% alcohol by volume to be called vodka.
Correct. So they're doing that. They're doing that on site in the so it's a pot still, and there's a column still attachment to it.
Okay, cool. A combo Norman say. Okay, cool. That makes sense.
Exactly.
All right, Doug, you've got the final word here. Take it away, Doug.
I'll be quick this time, I promise. Kevin, cheers to a fantastic product. You know, the carbon footprint, I mean, everyone is worried about a lot of this, and thank you for that. The media kit, everything was professionally done, and we appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest question is, and this is on the second side of the market side, who do you consider the competing product that, as a distributor, that we would actually go after?
So, you know, we try to narrow the scope. So organic vodkas are where we want to play and where we want to dominate. And then I think we can kind of look broader. But right now, I would say we are competing with other organic vodkas.
Any other follow-ups? We've got about 30 seconds left. So if anyone has any last thoughts or comments, take it away. Okay. Well, I love the packaging. I've got one here in my family room, so thank you for sending it to me. I really appreciate it. My wife and I will be sampling it later this evening. We're up here in the Pacific Northwest. So thank you so much, and good luck. And we are now on to our final contender for the vodka and gin round. My wife is my teleprompter operator here, and she just scrolled it up on me. We have Jenny Simmons with Waterloo Gin. Jenny, we cannot wait to hear about your gin. Take it away.
Awesome. Thanks for the introduction. On behalf of Waterloo Gin, I would like to thank WSWA for this opportunity. We are honored and excited to be here today and competing against all these incredible brands. So I'm here presenting from our tasting and cocktail lab on our 28-acre ranch in Dripping Springs, Texas. Dripping Springs is about 20 minutes west of Austin and is the gateway to the Texas Hill Country. Some people in the industry also consider the Texas Hill Country the Sonoma of Texas, home to a plethora of distilleries, wineries, and breweries. Our journey began about 10 years ago as a pioneer in the Texas spirit industry. As the first gin to be produced in the state of Texas, our vision was to create a taste of place. We wanted to showcase the personality and terroir of the Texas Hill Country, and our commitment to innovation led us to producing a modern twist on a classic spirit. Our name pays tribute to what came before with eyes looking into the future. We wanted to pay homage to the original name of Austin. Our flagship gin, number 9, was born from experimentation. It had to embody the spirit of Waterloo and it had to taste like here. We tested over 100 recipes, landing back on the 9th rendition. We also use 9 botanicals that are either grown in or inspired by the Texas Hill Country, such as lavender, Texas pecan, and ruby red grapefruit. Number 9 is crafted in the new American style, meaning secondary botanicals such as lavender are more prominent in taste, smoothing out and rounding out that harsh juniper bite that's a little bit more traditional. We vapor infuse the unique 9 botanicals during the distillation process to extract the truest essence of each flavor. This imparts a smooth softness, amplifying the floral accents and citrus backbone. We then proof down with limestone filtered spring water and bottle at 94 proof. When nosing the spirit, you'll get a beautiful floral lavender with a little bright citrus. After tasting the spirit, your mouth kind of gets that buttery silkiness, and that is from the Texas pecan. We're a very well balanced spirit, and we play well as an exceptional base to cocktails and the on-premise. But because of our signature blend of botanicals, we also play well in a simple cocktail at home for the consumers to mix with a premium tonic or premium soda. Our 750 traditionally runs around $24.99, and our leader plays around the $20 price point, making us really competitive amongst premium wells. Waterloo is the top awarded American gin, winning over 10 gold medals. And most recently, we won the Best Contemporary Gin by the 2001 World Gin Awards. Our packaging also really sets us apart from your traditional gins on your shelf. Each element of our packaging has a true meaning. The brushstroke signifies, the blue brushstroke on the front signifies our dedication to innovation. The brand on the top you'll see here is a play off a traditional Texas cattle or ranch brand. The stripes are the 5 pillars of the company. And then our beautiful botanical etching on the back is a combination of an oak branch as well as juniper berries. We actually just extended our packaging to mimic this double-sided and then all the way around, now reaching into the brushstroke. We have 2 other SKUs in our portfolio. I
gotta wrap you up. I'm so sorry.
That's
I
okay.
get it's an awful job as host. I have to let you know when time is up. But when you said Dripping Springs, I almost fell out of my chair. My wife and I are building a house in Dripping Springs right now.
You got to come on by then.
We will come by, and we love the Salt Lick Barbecue. It is a world-class barbecue place, and if you guys have ever been to Texas and haven't gone to the Salt Lick, it's definitely a spot. So we will come by next time we're there for sure and check it out. So I can't wait to sample some of your goods. With that said, Tom, what are your thoughts?
Jen, really well done. What I like about the product, not only the taste, it's fantastic, but I like the package because it's clean, it's crisp, it's very approachable. My question is more of a commercial question. What are your plans on rolling out of Texas and into other markets. Can you give us kind of your strategy on what your plans are commercially?
Yeah, so we're currently in 8 major markets. We deploy most of our resources currently in Texas and Florida. We're doing a relaunch in Georgia this month, and then we'll be launching into Oklahoma in August. So really our strategy is more deep than wide, really focusing on the markets, around Texas first.
Jen, do you have any questions?
My question also is more from a commercial strategy as well. And in this day and age of ramping e-commerce, my question for you is, what is your e-commerce strategy and your social strategy to acquire new customers and new consumers?
So we are available online currently. Our digital marketing is probably our biggest focus moving forward. We are able to geo-target specific consumers down to the exact zip code. So once we do an event, we can then go into digital marketing and really capture those consumers that were, in that zip code or surrounding.
All right, Ryan, you get the final word of the first round here. So take it away, Ryan.
I guess kind of building off the marketing side, once you get in these states and you kind of expand your distribution and get it to a national level, what do you see as a strategy to really get the pull through both at the on and off premise side?
Well, samplings have been extremely important to the team, both on and on premise. I think Liquid to Lips is a campaign that worked for me and companies past, and it's something that we will continue to do at Waterloo. Bringing new consumers into the gin category is relatively easy with this spirit because it's so well balanced and it's so floral. We, during tastings, we are engaging people that maybe have never consumed gin before. We also have great partnerships with brand ambassadors and bartenders here in Texas and Florida that really are our biggest fans and spread the Waterloo love. So engaging with that on-premise team, building cocktails, and building brand awareness.
Got it.
Well, you've got great packaging. We got about 30 seconds left, and I had to cut you off. So if you want to use this time to talk about anything else, you can. We've got 30 seconds and take it away.
Awesome. So we have 2 other line extensions. We've got our Old Yopon, which is our take on an Old Tom style, as well as our Antique, which is our number 9, aged 2 years in New American barrels here in the Texas heat. Really awesome products. And I feel like our Yopon is how we've really engaged our mixology group, and our Antique, we've engaged whiskey connoisseurs and been able to dress up classic cocktails such as Negronis and Old Fashions. We're also about to launch our RTD gin and tonic series, which will be 8-ounce cans with a classic Mediterranean and elderflower. Beautiful packaging and resemble a lot of the brushstroke and the botanical etching on the side.
Well, congratulations, and congratulations to all the competitors today, and thank you to all the judges. Now we are going to send our judges to do the difficult task, and I've done this, so I know, of deliberating on this category winner, who will move on to the championship round September 14th. And before we hear from Dale Stratton from SipSource, who will present the current trends on vodka and gin, we want to hear from today's tournament sponsor, London Essence.
Well, I was going off the questions they were asking other people.
Wow, that was really well done. As someone who works in television, congratulations to London Essence. That was really impressive. But now I want to introduce Dale Stratton, and I look forward to hearing his update on today's category. While he presents, we will also ask that you vote for your favorite brand presented today. The company with the most votes from the audience will be our People's Choice winner. Dale, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Bill. Appreciate it. And the data that I'm going to be presenting is from SipSource. For those of you who aren't familiar with SipSource, it is an aggregation of depletion data that is attributed by VIP, and then we're able to report out on the entire market, which you'll see here. First thing that I'd like to say is we're talking about spirits here, is that the spirits are doing extraordinarily well, as you can see, growing 5.8% and really driving growth in the beverage alcohol category. Next slide. This is an opportunity, and this data is through March. And so when we look at this, we know the on-premise got hit. Everybody knows that, but we're able to quantify that a little bit. Spirits are on the left-hand side, wine is on the right-hand side. And this is broken out between on and off-premise. And you can see here that on the spirit side, in March, the on-premise was down 43.7% on spirits. Off retail, of course, offsetting that to get to that 5.8%. We did start to see a bit of recovery coming in here as we cross that COVID-19 shelter-in-place initiatives. And the April data, which I had a glance at, really will show that even better. So tune in when we talk about that on the tequila battle. Next slide, please. So when we think about the size of products, so the way to read this is that the bars represent share of depletions within the spirits category. The axis on the right-hand side and the dots show the growth rate for the various categories. And cocktails, pre-mixed cocktails, you can see are growing very, very rapidly, leading growth. But as this is about vodka, the big thing about vodka, of course, is that it is big. It's 30% of all volume is done in the vodka category. Gin down there, gin is a smaller category, more targeted category, I would say. And we'll break both of those categories down a little bit further with the next slide. So vodka, when we look at what's happening here with vodka, and I've broken this out into flavored and unflavored vodka. And what we see going on here is that flavored vodkas are starting to bounce back. Now, some of that could be restocking of bar supplies and getting back to a fuller back bar and sorting out your flavors. But we are seeing that flavors are starting to take off a little bit more. It is about an 80-20 split. Unflavored vodka, 80% of the category, with flavored vodka being about 20%. Next slide. So if we think about this from a price segment standpoint, and we break this into four price points and four categories, what we see here is by and large that with the exception of that ultra premium unflavored, we're seeing good growth over here in the super premium for unflavored vodka. Unflavored, it's really the premium price point, that second tier that is showing it. And certainly with the shutdown of on-premise, a lot of those popular priced brands are in wells. We anticipate seeing that bounce back a bit. Next slide, please. And then when we start thinking about from a geographic standpoint, and we saw through the entire pandemic really that the Pacific and the Northeast geographies took the hit worse in the on-premise, and they've been much slower to recover. However, what we see over here on the flavored side is you see the South Central, and that's really Texas kind of over into Tennessee and Kentucky, growing very, very strongly, as is the West North Central, which is the Dakotas down into into Nebraska, Kansas area. Next slide. looking at gin and breaking gin out by price point. And this is something, when we see that the overall gin category is down, it's a bit deceptive, because what we see here is that the ultra premium high-end gin is actually growing extremely well. There's a lot of activity, and we saw that from the people who presented today. A lot's being done in that area, and it's showing results with consumers as the ultra premium gin segment is doing very, very well. Next slide, please. And then this breaks it out by geography. Ignore the unflavored and flavored; those got carried over. This is just looking at it from a geographic standpoint. And you can see here that the Northeast over indexes on gin. It's holding this back a little bit, but the South Central doing well in the gin category, and that is definitely driven by that ultra premium segment. With that, I'm going to bet that we're pretty close to being over with the voting process, and we'll get it back to the judges so that we can get the results that we all came here for. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Dale, for the great information. And I am now really excited to announce today's winners. First up, our People's Choice winner that all of you, our viewers, selected is, drum roll please, Romeo. Congratulations, Romeo. Do we have a screenshot of that by chance? Okay, well, maybe not. So congratulations, Romeo. That was wonderful.
Yeah, video is off, Bill. I don't know if you can turn it on, but I'm unable to get the video on.
Okay, well, we want to just congratulate you. You are the People's Choice winner. And now on to the Judges' Choice category winner, who will proceed to the Brand Battle Championship Tournament in September. Today's Vodka Gin category winner is Denord. Congratulations. A big congratulations to you on your win. The awards will be mailed to you in the next few weeks. And I want to thank all of our contestants who participated today. You all had absolutely spectacular presentations, and I'm sure success is for sure in your future. All of their information for anyone watching at home can be found in the online Brand Battle directory. The link to the directory has been placed in the chat box, but also can be found on the tournament website. Again, we would like to thank our sponsors of today's tournament, 750 Beverage Media Group and London Essence, as well as our other tournament supporters. We look forward to seeing all of you next Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern time for our tequila tournament. Congratulations to the winners.